Okay, welcome to another edition of the Self-Object Podcast, which is the interface between human intelligence, artificial intelligence, and the digital media space and advertising. My guest today is Gal Borenstein, and he is an expert in digital marketing, also the author of the best-selling book, Don't Believe the Hype. So, Gal, welcome to the podcast. Can you tell me a little bit about your story, your book, and how do we get to this point?
Well, thanks for having me. I'm very interested in learning about the models that you produce. But to tell you the story of the Borenstein Group first, in the 90-second version, is I started the Borenstein Group 30 years ago,
Hmm.
as of October 15th. And really, the Borenstein Group proposition was to help small to mid-sized technology companies that are in the B2B market to get the quality of marketing, advertising, and PR that they deserved, but were ignored by the big ad agencies at the time that, number one, didn't know what technology marketing meant. And second, if you're not spending $1 million on a project, you got a junior out of college to take care of your account.
Hmm.
So the three kind of tenets of the Borenstein Group that kind of made it into a success and a staying power of 30 years really was, number one, is that we are vertical market experts. We understand and pursue knowledge and understanding of things like cybersecurity, data analytics, AI right now, but in fact, it was telecommunications networks and anything that basically engineers and technology companies do. The second was to actually give the best customer service that even the smallest company deserves, and use that as a kind of mechanism to create long-lasting relationships. And the third was really kind of our tagline, which is making creativity a science.
Hmm.
As we know, anybody can have a good idea once, but if you can't make that idea repeatable and predictable to produce repeatable outcomes, it's not science, which is the book definition. So our tagline is making creativity a science since the beginning. And our approach to market is basically, how do we measure what we do? How do we create the right measurements and not just follow the market and use what the market gives us, if you will? So the Bornstein Group, fast forward, still today, this is exactly what we do. We work with cybersecurity companies, we work with IT companies, we work with AI-enabled companies, and really kind of try to bring those knowledge points that I just mentioned into the conversation. We also work a lot with C-suite people because they need that assist that sometimes does not exist, especially if it's a small to mid-sized company. So it's really exciting times right now with AI coming to the table to actually reinvent a lot of those things. So that's really kind of the short version.
Oh, I love that. I'm letting the making the creative process a science. It reminds me of just how our brains work. The left brain would be the science part. The right brain would be the creative part. Uh, Unpack that a little bit more with me. How did you come up with that concept, and really has kind of a significance to it?
Of course, and this is actually to give you the answer that I didn't about the book that I released called Don't Believe the Hype,
Right.
which is all about kind of helping leadership in corporate America really understand what digital trust means in the age of AI, and really kind of the basic notion of what really is the biggest coinage, if you will, that you can use to grow, to succeed, to maintain your position in the marketplace is trust.
Hmm.
Trust used to be something that, the old joke about anybody in sales that said, trust me, I'm in sales, which was really kind of a cynical way of saying, I can't trust you.
Ha, ha.
And car salesmen in car dealerships were typically the ones that kind of got all the heat for saying it. But in reality, all sales organizations and all BD folks were kind of struggling with that. But what changed dramatically was that trust used to be an element of how do you basically create a sale or a process that will produce intent to buy, which is kind of the definition of how we kind of measure marketing and the marketing life cycle. And what I found that post-COVID, when we went from personal interactions between people that included in B2B markets like trade shows, handshakes, restaurants, at lunch or dinner, all the conversations that used to be focused on the human interaction
Yeah.
disappeared during COVID. And then
Mm.
a new era was born as Zoom introduced a more plausible way to communicate with video. And then all the other video conferencing companies kind of jumped on board. And little do most people know that there was a little company that was part of Microsoft, and I say little facetiously, but of course Skype. Skype couldn't get to grow way before Zoom because the psychology of the human brain was most people did not like to see their face on a video camera or would like the other side to see how they look like or what their expressions are when they have a conversation.
Right.
But COVID basically ended that, and people needed to communicate. People needed to talk to their customers,
Right.
to talk to prospects. So with the video introduction of video conferencing and really going beyond just a webinar or a kind of a set of slides into conversations, a new reality came to play, which was, no, you don't need to go to a trade show necessarily to create that trust. And I call it digital trust because what changed dramatically is the kind of the pre-COVID area, or the majority of the history of business to business marketing was focused on how to kind of create engagement and understand the other side of the coin of the people that you're working with, so we understand their concerns. But the most important part, companies own their own narrative. So if you're a technology company, for example, and you said, we're known for the best quality, or our modem is the fastest, or our cybersecurity scan is 400% better than the competition, the market basically dealt with the perceptions that they have, but the narrative was really concrete in a sense. With AI and videos, and most importantly, social media, like employee reviews on Glassdoor, Trustpilot, reviews of products and services, G2 that covers technology, reviews of systems and new applications. Suddenly, your narrative is not yours anymore. You have a narrative. But if you're not paying attention to all these digital ecosystems and you kind of closer-minded to just listening to yourself, which most companies do one way or the other, you don't have an opportunity to really kind of take advantage of these opportunities to really make you known as a thought leader in the marketplace, create a digital footprint that will allow you to be looked as a category leader. Making sure that if you say that we're the highest quality company, that your employees and the culture that was built and being built matches up, because a prospect today doesn't have to meet you to know what your brand stands for. And they formulate that opinion based on content that you didn't create.
Wow.
It's content that was created by other people that are not even buyers necessarily. So from product reviews to employers reviews to internal culture of a company that matches up with the narrative that CEOs want to have has presented a new paradigm shift in how you view uh, who are you from a brand perspective. So the book really covers what is digital trust, and the kind of the value proposition is you can't just take your narrative and keep going with it. You have to really go to every part of your organization. For example, human resources used to be the place where you book benefits and get your information about your
Mm.
health insurance. But now it's the hub of creating the culture of the company and making sure that people are happy with the new circumstances that they have. If you're CFO of a publicly traded company, if you basically shy away from interviews or not media savvy, by just saying, no, I can't share this information, you might actually be compliant with a regulatory environment, but you might create a kind of a perception that the company is hiding something.
Mm.
So HR, finance, the CEO of the company, most of the time we think of digital brand of a company about the company itself. But today with social media, like LinkedIn, for example, you look up who's the CEO and you look at their footprint and the brand of the CEO and the way it's being communicated is as important as the company's uh, brand story. So bringing it all together and creating what I call the Guardian, which is kind of a framework that allows you to really look at the entire organization inside and out and come up with ways to create collaboration between decision makers is what this book is about. I call it Don't Believe the Hype because that thing was in my head since the rap song was playing way back by Public Enemy
Right,
in the early 90s.
right.
So that's really what it's about. It's about creating a narrative that works inside and outside a company, knowing that you're not being judged anymore by your narrative. You're being judged by what people say about you when you're not in the room, which is what Jeff Bezos said is called branding.
Fantastic. Uh, what's the best way for listeners to get a copy of Don't Believe the Hype?
Well, it's very easy. First, I want to offer all the listeners to your podcast and viewers the opportunity to get a free copy if they
Oh,
write to you and they or reach out to me through LinkedIn. I'll be happy to kind of share a copy of the book. But the normal channel is go on Amazon.com and my book is right there in one of the marketing book sections.
fantastic. Um, Gal, so a lot came up for me in that. One, just the parallel process post-COVID as to what happened in terms of trust, even in the mental health field. There was kind of a feel post-pandemic of I need to be in the room with a therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist and to feel the energy, to trust. And and then after the pandemic, there was whether it was a dynamic of convenience, but there was something transformative of making connections through platforms like Zoom or some of the telehealth platforms. And and with that comes narrative shifts, identity shifts, truly a transformative time. I want to share a model with you, and it's a real simple model. It's related to insights discovery. I'm going to ask you about these colored energies. So these are kind of would be in our work persona and what we do, what kind of colored energies we lead with when we're faced with a challenge. The first would be red energy, which is do it now. Uh, and then the next would be blue energy, would be do it right, kind of an analytical, thinking, introverted way. The green energy would be do it in a caring way with harmony and empathy,
Mhm.
kind of a kind of feeling sense. And then the yellow energy would be related to make it fun, do it together with joy. And if you think about, if you could share some of the challenges that or opportunities that you're facing uh, in the future, what kind of colored energies do you rely on to move through pain points and move ahead to meet your goals?
I think number one, it's really interesting to see the Lego pieces,
Yeah,
knowing that each one of them have a significant weight
right.
in terms of what it means to a brand, to a
Mm,
company, and to the CEOs and the C-suite.
right.
Um, the interesting part is when the way you presented it, I actually think about it as flipping
Mm,
the Legos, because first you have to create an ecosystem
ooh,
that everybody buys into. You can't say to somebody, let's build a culture in a company and
yeah.
communicate it without having the buy-in from the employees and from whoever needs to participate in it, and the middle management that typically doesn't get as much information
Mm,
into the marketplace. So when I saw the yellow and
mm,
the red
mm,
is do it now.
mm,
Uh, do it now always exists almost amorphously in between. But really in communication, that means crisis communications. To do
yeah.
it now is typically the short-term solution that you have to go. So when a company has a crisis communication situation, for example, something leaked that shouldn't have, the culture get put on TV by having an employee that went rogue
Mm,
and nobody checked on them, whatever it may be, you got to deal with it immediately. And that red, the do it now, is always about responding in a way that has already the pre-designed process on
mm,
how to do it, knowing that it may not be perfect when you do it, but you don't start from reinventing a new wheel when you're
right.
faced with that. Um, the yellow one is really, and the reason I started with yellow, if you
Mm,
will, if it had to go kind of in priority from
hmm
the top to
hmm
bottom, it is really kind of the fact that you have to kind of create the ecosystem, and then in that ecosystem, identify the stakeholders, the decision makers, and the influencers. The influencers could be inside the corporation or could be analysts that are covering your business. And then as you kind of build it up with the understanding that you don't live in a vacuum and you're not being judged anymore by only the way you do it inside the company,
mm,
and you match it up. That means, for example, that when you hire Gen Z employees, they have a set of values. How do those values align with the company's culture? How
hmm
do they align with how we market ourselves if we're a technology company?
hmm
All these things really come together. So the building blocks that you're talking about are interactive and are sometimes fungibly connected to each other. But
Right.
I think that where the need in the marketplace, that when I see technology companies, it really is not about the innovation and the shiny object of how fast the brand can go, whether it's software or hardware or uh, software service, whatever it may be. It is about how do you put it all together with people that recognize what needs to be done, knowing what the obstacles are, working those obstacles way ahead before they come to the promise that we make, and then make sure that everybody's on board.
Fantastic. I love that. Um, yeah, combination. Really kind of starting off with that red energy, do it now, and then the way that can work with the yellow energy, which is do it together. Uh, Actually, the four energies translate into a leadership style. You could have with red energy a results-oriented leadership, with the yellow energy inspirational leadership, with the yellow with the green energy, yellow energy, you have a relational leader, and then with the green blue, you can have a grounded leader. So as we're accessing our energies, and we're in this time of transition, we're trying to adapt our leadership styles as well. It sounds like you have a real grasp of that. What do you see for the next 6 months or a year for your group?
Well, as a kind of a marketing and branding and PR agency, we see a new challenge, which is
Hmm.
what's the impact of AI
Yeah.
on everything that we do? And of course, we're all humans. And when you're in the knowledge worker industry, as we are, as professional service companies are, and you depend on the person that is doing the job to write or design or do market research or come up with creative ideas. Um, and a year ago, when you said, "Hey, let's go on ChatGPT and have somebody write something,"
Hmm.
uh, it was a very scary proposition for the
Right.
copywriters, for the people that were writing. Or we needed big competitive market intelligence research. And typically there were few people that would spend 4 weeks. And
Mm.
then somebody came through ChatGPT, put the same information, and it spit out pretty much a 90 to 95% uh, true and detailed information that was matching up with what we needed.
Mm.
So the fear of being displaced was really kind of the most vulnerable and painful acknowledgement that yes, if you're not doing something different, the job itself is going to be eliminated, almost like the Industrial Revolution when it went from, sawing things by hands to
Right.
making textile and being able to do a lot more. So the challenge, which we continuously kind of adjust to, is how do we leverage AI, which gives you scale, which nobody can argue with. You can
Hmm.
send 10,000 emails instead of one. You can reach markets a lot faster. You can get more depth in terms of the value proposition of the company that you're working with. So what we're focusing on is how to, number one, acknowledge that AI is here
Mm.
and is only going to get more integrated into the fabric of any business, and including creative agencies. But at the same time, learn that something that I've observed, and
Mm.
that's my personal experience, AI doesn't have a heart. AI does not have a personality. You can cue it to have a personality, but AI cannot make the emotional intelligence decisions
Right.
when they're actually producing something. So when it's opening up AI or Perplexity, whatever it may be,
Mm.
the fact that you can get a product that doesn't have a heart, that does not have the emotional and cognitive connection, and you lose the human to human interaction in it, that's really kind of where it fails.
Right.
And I believe that companies such as ours and other companies that recognize the difference between output and meaningful output
Mm.
that relates to human beings, that is really where the difference is going to be. So whether it's a fake video right now of a celebrity that everybody's complaining about, that's basically just the shiny object. What's behind it could become a very creative way to communicate. But it all boils down to the fact that it's a robot. It's not a human being.
Right.
And humans buy from humans at the end of the day.
Mm.
So we don't view it as a kind of a threat, existential threat. We're looking at how to make that work for our clients, whether it's through the CRM, through sales enablement, or building agents through AI that can support organizations. But knowing that at the end of the day, whatever you're producing if it doesn't have heart, if it doesn't have soul, if it doesn't have a narrative that you believe in, it will fail.
Well said. Gal Borenstein, I appreciate your time. And you said that listeners could receive "Don't Believe the Hype" um, uh, for pro bono for free, and or they can go on to Amazon. Wonderful insights today. Appreciate your vision, your clarity, how you see the digital market, the interface with AI, and it's been wonderful having you as a guest.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the questions.
Okay, take care.